Toyland, here we go. We finished Nazarene lines. Just kidding, Nazca lines. For anybody that's watched previously, that was a reference to my fuck up. I literally called it Nazarene lines for. So I make, for anybody new here, I make videos on Bloons Tower Defense 5 content, and I kind of just do commentary, and I don't really talk much about the game. I'm going to make some videos about that stuff at some point in the future, but as of right now, I still feel like I'm acquiring some knowledge about the game. I'm learning different maps, and I don't know a ton about this game, but I probably know more than about 99% of the population. So I want to get to a 99.99, maybe 99.9999% of the population before I actually dive into trying to do any sort of walkthroughs or explanation videos. Because, I mean, I think that if you're trying to explain things to people, you should probably know way, way more than they do. And it's not clear that I do that's where I'm at yet. So, yeah, that's that's why I kind of just this is this sort of background. If you guys like the Bloons Tower Defense 5 stuff, then that's awesome. Hopefully you like my commentary too, because I just like talking about life and stuff going on with me and questions I get from people in my life and anything that's going on with me. Not anything, but I talk about all kinds of stuff. So, and I like telling stories and trying to relate things. And I'm hoping that my audiences are people that are similar to me, because everyone goes through struggles, and sometimes it's just nice to have somebody who's like maybe can kind of relate, or you can kind of relate to. I've been pretty good at doing that most of my life. I feel like what I've done is kind of collect all these oddball characters and people that most people overlook because, well, they're fucking weird. I feel like my whole life is like that Moneyball movie. My whole life is like Moneyball, where it's like, if you've seen it, basically Jonah Hill is a nerd from Stanford who's really good with numbers. And this was like 70s, 80s when analytics in baseball was just starting to become a thing. And he was one of the guys who was like putting statistics and to these guys, and it was like he could find value in a player that most other people didn't like, and or most other teams didn't like. And the reason that he found value in them was because, like, the thing that they were doing, usually they were doing something weird. Like a pitcher might pitch like really oddly, maybe a side underhand type swing. And because it was so odd, teams just wouldn't touch him because he was weird. And I feel like that's me in my life. I discover all these people that's like nobody sees it. Nobody sees them. But I can see that they got it. Whatever it is, I don't know sometimes, how to describe that. I'm pretty good at it, and I'm pretty like I'm a pretty what do I want to say? I want to say the words I'm looking for are that I'm pretty verbally articulate. I I'm very verbally articulate and fluent. That's more the word that I'm looking for. Not articulate. I'm more verbally fluent. Articulate's one thing. Yeah, I can get going and I can say all the right words too, but like the fluency part is more so what I find to be really different about me is that I can say a lot of things that people they actually resonate with, but they might not necessarily be able to say for themselves. And I can just say them. And I don't know why. And oftentimes I find that questioning that is maybe not the best thing. Just just isn't helpful sometimes. Sometimes it is. Oftentimes it is because there's always a reason. Some people think, "Oh, there's no reason why." It's like there's always a reason. There's always a reason why. You might not be right. Actually, oftentimes you're probably going to be wrong. But it doesn't mean that there's no reason. You just don't want to take the time and figure out what it is. And there's a good chance that even if you do figure out what you think it is, it's not actually it. And then even if you do, like, you can get to conclusions that can accidentally be correct, but are not absolutely correct. They can just be incidentally correct, and you can live with that, and that can be helpful, But just make sure your beliefs serve you, whoever it is that's listening to this. Just make sure your beliefs serve you, and try to do good things. I think that what that is exactly, if you try to get into the definition of it, good is, it's a hard definition, but I think it's something close to looking up or aiming up, because sometimes the path isn't clear. I've been watching, never been much into movies, especially like the Harry Potter series or Game of Thrones, or that's a TV show, but the premise is similar, to where it's like you have these huge cultural phenomenon that people seem to really hang on to, and they really love. And I've just like Harry Potter, I never really got into. Lord of the Rings is another one. I was never into superheroes and comic books. I got a little bit into the X-Men when I was growing up, but very briefly, and it didn't really go very far. But just recently, me and my girlfriend, we've been watching through the whole Marvel, I guess, I'm not sure if it's called the MCU. I think it's the MCU, but the whole like Marvel universe. And just, we started with some of the, I think it was like Captain America or whatever, but we started with like one of the oldest back, right? And then we just started watching them going forward. And right now, I think the most recent one that we watched was Guardian of the Galaxy. I think the one after that is Age of Ultron. It's the Avengers Age of Ultron. After watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, holy shit. Like, going back and watching the Avengers is just like, I don't even, not that there's anything wrong with it. I gotta, readjust and retune my antenna, I guess, to the right frequency, but like, fucking goddamn Guardians of the Galaxy is amazing. Like, I've been watching, before I turned on this video, I was giving my head a shave and trimming my beard, and I had the movie on in the background on my phone, and I was just watching the ending, the last 45 minutes or so of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and just in awe how these writers, they nailed it. Like the actors, they nail it too, right? But I think it starts with good writing. And it's like these, like, you just talk about a nail biter, Now, I mean, yeah, like the movies got, some of the characters got like plot armor and stuff, and that's cool. But just the amazement of like how you can relate these things to real life, and how hard it is to describe some of the things that they're talking about. Like they're like what I was getting at, before with Moneyball. It's like, they put together a team of misfit toys that somehow they all, you take all these misfit toys and you put them all together, and you find out that like it works, somehow it works. It doesn't really make sense, but you guys can all compensate for each other's weaknesses. That's what life is like. You look around you, and it's like we're pretty blind to the fact that like we can just walk into any room and turn the lights on. But like, 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. You couldn't just walk into any room and turn lights on. Like, a lot of rooms didn't have lights. There wasn't electricity available everywhere. Like, electricity and it being available absolutely everywhere is a relatively new phenomenon. Like, within the past like 50, 60 years, right? There's even been a lot of developments in that. So yeah, I just, trying to tie a bunch of stories here together and a bunch of things, but pretty much the main thing, and the reason I'm kind of getting the end here and trying to tie all these things together is because the video is going to end because I beat this level. But, uh, yeah, like, I feel like for me, I've basically found a bunch of like, the people who when I said at the beginning of the video, there's these people that have it. What that it is that like something that fits into a team that is, like you can see what it is that they are on such a deep level that it's like, well, maybe they compensate for some of your weaknesses and maybe you compensate for some of theirs. But what you guys really have at the bottom of it at the end of the day is that you guys have an understanding of each other. And you're aiming up, like you're trying to aim for the best good, because not everybody's doing that, right? You get a bunch of fucking bad misfit toys, even if they have it, if they're aiming in the wrong direction, then that's not good. That can be a nightmare. So anyway, if you guys like this type of stuff, subscribe. I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. It's undetermined what it is exactly yet, but I'm doing it. I'm going to provide some value for you guys if you guys want to subscribe. I'm going to be doing more things like this where I just talk. So, yeah, hopefully you guys come back for more. Have a good one. Bye.